At the beginning of our story, we see some goblins roasting a pig over a fire. Nearby, a man is hiding and watching them. But suddenly, he accidentally steps on a twig, making a noise, which catches the goblins' attention, and they start chasing him. So, the man begins running away from them. As he leads the goblins away, he smiles and then takes a big leap, landing far away. Meanwhile, the goblins chasing him fall into a trap he had set, falling into a pit. After this, the man reveals his face. It's a boy. With a new morning, he tells us, "Right now, I'm enjoying my fun, lonely life in another world." Then, we are shown what happened. During lunch, our hero was sitting in his class, reading manga. His other classmates were also there, but our hero was alone, perhaps because he didn't have any friends. Then, our hero explains why he always stays alone, because he doesn't care about his classmates. He describes the different kinds of kids in his class. First, the bully-type kids. Second, the fashionable girls known as gals. Third, the brave kids. Then, the fools. And lastly, the smart girls. He doesn't belong to any of these groups. His life was going on like this when suddenly, a summoning circle appears in the classroom, shocking all the kids, who start screaming. Hearing the noise, our hero looks to see what's happening. Oh man, it's a magic circle. I've seen this many times in manga and comics, but I have no interest in going to another world. So, he tries to escape the class, trying very hard, but the door wouldn't open, and the summoning circle was spreading throughout the class. The kids started getting transported to another world. Seeing all this, our hero had only one option left. He jumped up and climbed onto the ceiling. After reaching the top of the class, he thought he was safe, but the summoning circle reached there as well. Reluctantly, our hero was also transported to another world. He then finds himself in a strange white room. Hey, why isn't anyone here? I thought a beautiful princess or a fat king would be waiting for me. But suddenly, an old man appears next to him, making gestures that our hero doesn't understand. However, he realizes that this old man must be a god. The rest of his class had already arrived in this white room and been transported to the other world, leaving only him behind. God gestures to him, indicating that first come, first served. After this, a large status board appears before our hero, through which he can choose his skills. But since the other kids arrived first, they had already chosen the best skills, leaving only the useless ones for our hero. Still, our hero looks through the skills, trying to find one that might be useful. But none of the skills look good to him. Our hero wanted to become a magician, but forget about magic, he can't even find a decent skill. It seems it would be hard for him to even get a sword. Let me tell you what kind of useless skills there are. For example, company communicator, which is essential for an office worker. Another skill is just stay put, don't do anything. And there are other equally useless skills. Old man, what's happening with me? Answer my questions. What will I do with such useless skills? If you call yourself a god, do something for me. Frustrated by our hero's complaints, God says, all these remaining skills are yours. Now leave this place. As soon as he says this, the status board breaks, and all the remaining useless skills are transferred to our hero. After this, we see the other world where our hero has arrived, worried about how he'll survive in this world with these useless skills. And friends, our hero's name is Haruka. However, along with the skills, Haruka was also given a bag. We learn that this bag can hold countless items, and it already contains some essentials, a pair of clothes and some magic items. After putting on the clothes, Haruka says, "Now I look like I belong to this other world." Then he checks his status, but to see it, he first has to roll some dice. He remembers this was one of those useless skills. That old man really gave me all the useless skills. Haruka rolls the dice, which show. What does this mean? Could it be masochism? No, that can't be it. Then Haruka is asked where he wants to allocate his points, so he puts all his points into luck. After this, his status window opens, and we see that his luck is maxed out, meaning MM stood for max. not masochism. But all his other skills are still at level 1. Haruka then wonders what he should do. Should he form a team and explore this world, or should he do everything alone? If I try, I could create a harem in this other world. But wait, where is everyone else? I don't see anyone. Well, I was going to stay alone anyway. After this, Haruka sets out to find a safe place for himself. First, I'll build a house, he decides. But the forest is so dense that Haruka can hardly see anything. He worries. What if a monster attacks me while I'm sleeping? Then Haruka puts on some contact lenses that he found in the bag. After putting them on, he realizes he can now tell which things are poisonous and which are edible, and he can also see the information about items. So, Haruka can use these contacts as an appraisal skill. Haruka then spots some mushrooms that are edible, so he starts collecting them. Moving forward, Haruka finds a river. He fills his bag with water and drinks from it. After that, he sees a cave in front of him. Looking around cautiously, Haruka approaches the cave. He looks inside to see if anyone or anything is there and prays that it isn't the home of some monster. But then, hearing the sound of stones falling, he gets scared and moves further inside the cave. The cave turns out to be quite big, and Haruka has plenty of items he can use to live comfortably in this cave. Using his temperature magic, Haruka starts a fire. He realizes that the skills he thought were useless are actually quite handy. After that, Haruka checks his status and sees that his temperature skill has leveled up to fire magic, and he's gained some new skills as well. Then, Haruka starts feeling very sleepy, and thus ends his first day in the other world. But suddenly, Haruka wakes up, realizing that it's morning. He's happy that no monster attacked him during the night, thanks to an item that has a bonus repellent effect, keeping monsters away from him. But then he realizes he hasn't eaten anything since yesterday. So, he starts a fire and begins cooking something to eat, adding a bit of salt. When the food is ready, he eats it and finds it tastes very good. Haruka finds a knife and a pan in his bag, which he calls Blazer A. After finishing his meal, Haruka wonders where he should go next. He decides to stay in the cave for a while longer. Now, he needs to arrange for food and security. Using his appraisal skill, Haruka starts gathering edible items. But suddenly he spots some goblins in the distance. Haruka notices that these goblins are level 8, and all he has for a weapon is a stick. Can I defeat them? But sooner or later, I'll have to fight in this world. Haruka infuses his stick with magical power and prepares to fight. He first strikes a goblin on the head, defeating it after a good beating. But then, another goblin comes to attack Haruka. Dodging its attack, Haruka shoots a magical beam from his stick, defeating the second goblin. After defeating them, Haruka sighs in relief, and the evening falls. Haruka goes to the river to wash his face. I won my first fight. What I did wasn't very cool, but still, I did well. After that, Haruka returns to the cave. Inside the cave, we see him eating mushrooms. Haruka also brought a weapon from the goblins, but it's of no use to him because it's small, heavy, and impractical. Haruka then notices that he has leveled up to level 2, and his stats have increased significantly. But since he had encountered some goblins, Haruka doesn't want to be captured by a group of them. However, the level up has filled him with energy. By the third day, poor Haruka is tired of eating mushrooms and wants to eat some meat. After stuffing himself with breakfast, Haruka decides to make himself even stronger using his new magic abilities. With his new skill, Magic Wrap, his physical and magical power will be boosted. Additionally, his appraisal skill has also leveled up, allowing him to see question marks on items, which confuses him. So, he decides not to focus on it, and goes outside to do some magic practice. Once outside, he finds a nutritious mushroom. But I'm tired of eating mushrooms. Let's find some meat. However, he doesn't find any. Soon, he realizes, what am I even doing? Then, using his magic wrap skill, he boosts his physical and magical power and starts running. Haruka's speed has greatly increased, and he begins taking long leaps, allowing him to travel far distances quickly. In this way, Haruka uses his speed to locate a rabbit and started running after him in the thought of having meat today. Haruka hears a noise outside. Curious and cautious, he goes to check it out. As he investigates the source of the noise, Haruka spots a group of his former classmates who were also transported to this other world. They seem to be sticking together, likely for safety and support. Instead of joining them or revealing himself, Haruka quickly hides. He doesn't want to be seen by his classmates. This decision reflects his desire to stay independent. For a brief moment, Haruka thinks about the possibility of joining his classmates, particularly the group led by the class representative, class rep. He knows that being with them could offer protection and familiarity. However, he quickly dismisses this idea. Haruka reminds himself why he prefers being alone. In this new world, he enjoys the freedom of not having anyone around to boss him around, tell him what to do, or judge him. Unlike in his old life, where he felt isolated because of social dynamics, here, solitude is his choice, and he's thriving in it. This sense of autonomy and peace reinforces his decision to stay on his own.